Britain's Andy Murray returns to centre court at Wimbledon today. He's 2-1 up against Greece's Stefanos Tsitsipas, just one set away from continuing on to the third round. That would be a pretty tricky name for you to try and get through, wouldn't it?
Yeah, with Melispa Weetabix mouth, that would be one to avoid, I would say. But yeah, can Andy and his metal hip win the battle? Join us to discuss this, as you saw a moment ago, former British #1 Greg Tsitsipas and former Wimbledon winner Pat Cash.
Good morning,
Marbury,
gents.
morning, chap. Marbury's been saying all morning, oh, he's 2-1 up, he's on a roll, he's going to do great, I've got every confidence, which makes me nervous, especially with Andy Murray, that it's all going to go wrong. I mean, there is something, isn't there, when you have to end it and come back the next day. In both your experiences, is that a boost or is that a problem?
I think it's a little bit of a problem because you want the momentum with you. He won the last 2 sets, he was flying, the crowd was getting into it, and he could probably finish it off in 4 sets. Then it stops, he's got to restart, get ready the next day, but I still think he's going to find a way to win. I don't think it's going to be as easy as Marjorie says there. I think he's going to possibly win this one in 5 sets, but Murray to win today.
It's Marbury, by the way.
Marbury, sorry. You can call me Tim Henman, that's fine.
No problem, Tim. There was a moment at the end of that game, and part of me was desperate for it to finish because it was gone 10:30 and I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning. Yeah. I was like, get on with it. But he slipped at the end of the game, and the noises that Andy Murray makes, he looks like he's in agony.
He really does, like, and sounds like it.
He went down, didn't he?
He went down.
He screeched, he grabbed his hip and, rolled around, and it sounded really bad. I mean, we all sort of jumped up in the commentary booth and, oh, my goodness, what's happened? And he sort of rolled around for a minute, got up, and he was fine, and served out the last point, which was because he had set point there, and then they decided to call it quits for the night, which they kind of had to. So it is going to be...
Do you think it... But Greg's sort of concerned about that interruption of the momentum that he had. Do you think it would serve Andy to have a good night's sleep and come back later on this afternoon?
I don't necessarily think so, because he's been a bit slow starting these previous match and this one, and Tsitsipas was really offline. But he is, other than Novak Djokovic, I don't know, he may be more experienced than Novak Djokovic. Nobody has the experience that Andy does on the grass courts at Wimbledon. I mean, nobody. So... He'll find a way.
10 years it is today, Greg, since he won it for the first time as well.
Yeah, no, amazing. I was lucky enough to watch that final. It's the only time I requested to be in the royal box because I thought history was going to be made. I mean, what a champion, winning Wimbledon twice, US Open, world #1. And I think he's probably in the best form we've seen in a long time since having double hip surgery. So I expect Murray to win and to be in the 2nd week this year. That's how well he's playing.
And will he see that, Pat, as success, or will he want... I mean, you know, he's a winner, right? He'll want more, surely.
Well, I think realistically, Wimbledon is his best chance of being successful. He's not going to... He didn't even play the French Open. He's sort of given that one up. He's focused on Wimbledon. He gets an advantage there. He's got experience. The court helps him a little bit. So, he feels like he's got a good run, and I think most of us thought the same thing, as long as he stays fit and he's coming to the tournament fit. And, so... Yeah, he still believes he's maybe deep down he thinks, I might be able to sneak out a Wimbledon title. I wouldn't be surprised. There's about 4 players in this tournament that can win it, and Andy is one of them.
That's interesting. Let's talk about some of the other wins yesterday as well, because Brody getting through, Brody...
Unbelievable.
I mean, can you explain, Greg, why that is quite such an impressive win?
Well, he's playing the 4th best player on the planet. He was down 2-1, and all the momentum was the Norwegian, and we're thinking, what's going to happen? Got the crowd into it, won the 4th set, and then destroyed him in the 5th set, 6-love. So for him, this was his biggest win in his career. A lefty, a guy from Manchester, he's a big supporter of Man City. They're tweeting about his performance, and the crowd loves him. He's a cheeky chappy, great personality, and finally having his big moment at 29. Most players have their big moments between, say, 21 to 28. So later in his career, he's getting it done. So pleased for him.
And, Pat, you know better than most what that crowd can do at Wimbledon, having won it as well. I mean, it's getting the crowd on side, but also for Tsitsipas, he's got the crowd against him. What a difference that made for Brody yesterday.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, they love an underdog. I mean, everybody loves an underdog, don't they? And so, Liam's... It's a great story. This guy, he's 29, he's 140 or something in the world. He's been struggling along in those smaller tournaments, and just for an opportunity to finally get a break and play up against the top player and have a win. And this was it, centre court at Wimbledon going crazy. So it's a lifetime dream for him, and he deserves it. He works so hard. He's on those smaller tournaments are not glamorous. You know, it's an understatement to say it's tough work out there.
And what about Katie Boulter, who's captured everybody's imagination, not least because she was caught up in the protest and ended up having to clear up the court a little bit herself.
She cleaned it up.
I mean, she cleaned it up and then cleaned up in the tennis, didn't she? She did so well. She's not playing today, is that right? But tomorrow. Is she still, you know, somebody that you're excited about?
Oh, very much so. She won her first tour event this year at home in Nottingham, which is a big accomplishment for any player. She's the British #1. You know, that's also got stature for it. But the problem she has the defending champion in the next round in Rybakina. So I think she's a player who can get into the top 50 in the world or higher. She's very likeable, very aggressive, and she's a great grass courter.
Our #1 tennis player for the men is Cam Noy, and he's playing today, I think. And he's certainly been in the best form of his career, I think, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
What sort of expectations should we have for Cam?
Look, I mean, last year's semi-final was a fantastic effort. It was a weaker tournament last year. There were lots of players missing. They were banned from the tournament. But, you know, realistically, he's improved. There's another success story. He came through a different pathway. He went to US college, played some years there, and bit by bit sort of just kept working on his game and improving his game. And I think he's surpassed even his own realistic goals. It's incredible. He's incredibly fit. He's really crafty around the court. He's got that lefty like Greg left-handed serve. They should ban the lefties. They're so sneaky. And you know, it's a fantastic story, and I think you'll get through it again today.
Yeah, the other thing is I think Cam doesn't get enough credit for what he's achieved. There's only been 4 British men in the Open era to make the top 10 in the world, and that's one of the things Cam has done. He was a semi-finalist. He wants to prove to the British public there's not just Andy Murray out there.
Yes.
And the irony, both these guys are in a crash course to meet in the second week at Wimbledon.
Wow.
So you could have Cam versus Andy in the last 16 of this event, and I think both men would be up for that. And what a match that would be. That would definitely be on centre. So expect him to get through today.
Wow. There's got to be some bad organisation if we get 2 Brits against each other. Can't rig
the draw.
Can't we do that?
It's been tried before.
Is that not how Wimbledon works?
Ben, it doesn't work like that. You got to remember, there's 128 people in this draw, so if you get to the last 16, you've done really well.
I was always convinced that Andy had a better side of the draw way through. We want to get them as far.
Sorting out your days off at work. Hang on. This isn't working out as I wanted.
Yeah, a new thing every day. Great to see you both. Thank you so much for coming in. We will be gripped a little bit later on. Whether it's as easy as Marvarine thinks or whether it's going to be as intense as the boys think there, it's going to be gripping regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.